Alright guys, here's another Toyota video for y'all. I picked up this 05 4Runner with 116,000 miles on it for 8,900 bucks. It's a pretty good deal. It's a limited, fully loaded, so it's got the 4-liter V6 in it. So I'm going to do a video on how to change the oil in this vehicle as well, so I can add them to the other videos I've got for y'all on YouTube. Anyway, so let's get started. I popped the hood. This 4-liter takes 5W30 full synthetic. It's what's been running there since it was from the factory, so that's what I'm going to continue to run with. It's got a Toyota filter on it right now. The previous owner did all the maintenance at Toyota, but I'm going to go with a different filter this time. I'm actually going to go with a K&N filter. It was part of the deal that I got from Advanced Auto Parts. So first thing I did was pop the hood, and then I took the oil cap off. It's over here, the fill cap. It's on the driver's side of the engine. The next step is going to be to go under the car and put the drain pan in and remove the plug. So just remember, on this 4Runner, you really don't need to jack the car up on anything with a jack or anything like that, because it's high enough off the ground that you should be fine. So, all right. Now that I've crawled up underneath here, under the secondary skid plate, there's an oval-shaped hole right here, and up in there you'll see the drain plug for the engine. It's a 14mm drain plug, so you'll need a 14mm socket wrench to pull it off. And what I've got here is I just took a 14mm socket and I stuck it on a 6-inch extension with a 3/8 drive ratchet to get this loose. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this out after I put my drain pan underneath it. So what I'll do first is just loosen the bolt just enough to get it where I can turn it by hand. Then I'll put my drain pan underneath there and pull the plug out and let the oil drain out of the engine. So that's the next step. So as you can see, the oil is draining out of the engine. This engine takes 5.8 quarts of oil per Toyota's maintenance book. So I'm going to let this continue to drain until it's all not draining anymore, and then we'll put the plug back in. And just like in the other videos, you want to inspect the threads on the drain plug and just make sure that you don't have any metal shavings here on the end. This one looks pretty darn good. So I noticed there isn't a gasket on this one. Usually there'll be a little compression rubber washer of sorts on here, or an aluminum washer. But this one doesn't have it, so I'm not going to worry about putting it back on. Since the guys at Toyota did the last oil change and it's not there, I'm assuming that it's probably not needed on this particular engine. So we're going to go without it. Alright, so I'm going to attempt to put this oil drain plug back in with one hand while I'm holding the camera. So it might not look right. And actually I don't think I'm going to be able to reach it, so I'm going to have to go ahead and put this drain plug in back where I took it out of. But y'all won't be able to see that on video, but just remember that the drain plug goes back in where the oil drained out of, in that oval hole in the secondary skid plate. Now, I've got my oil drain plug back in place. Now, when you do this, you want to be cognizant of not over torquing the bolt with the wrench when you put it back in there. You just want it to be snug, just enough that it won't back itself out while you're driving down the road. Alright, so the next step is to go ahead and change the filter on there. Now, Toyota did the right thing on the newer 4-liter engine, and they put the filter right up here on the top on the driver's side. It makes it a hell of a lot easier. On the 3.4-liter, which I have another video of on YouTube doing a 3.4-liter oil change on a 97 4Runner, it is way tucked down in here between the suspension on the front driver's side, and it's in a really awkward spot, and you have to maneuver your tools in there to get it. Now with this one, it's real easy. I'm going to try to take this off with just my bare hands. Still a little hot, so I might have to let it cool off. But it's in a really good spot for you to be able to easily get to it. So for this particular application, I went ahead and decided to go with the K&N filter instead of a factory Toyota filter. The number for the 05 4Runner with the 4-liter is, if you go with the K&N, is HP-1002. These, I don't know how much better they really are than a standard filter, like say a Purelator or a standard Toyota filter, but they are a little bit more expensive. This one came with the oil change kit that I bought from Advanced Auto Parts. These run about $16, $17 at Advance, but supposedly they run a little bit better, you know, filtration system than the standard filter. So I figured, what the heck, if it's coming with it, I might as well get it. The oil change kit was like 30 bucks. If this is a $16 filter, then I'm getting the oil for 15 bucks, which is not too bad. So so we're gonna go ahead and get this other oil filter off the engine and install this one. Now, this is an inverted filter, so I read the instructions. Usually I pour a little bit of oil into the new filter before I install it, just so you're not having a dry start situation. But according to the instructions on the Toyota filter, it says that there is not any oil needed to be poured into the filter before reinstalling it, because it is inverted. So per the instructions on the existing filter that's down there, I'm not sure if you can see it, it just says to make sure that the oil filter is fully seated with the rubber gasket fully seated into the filter housing, like the manifold, the filter manifold, and to run the engine for 3 minutes to check for leaks post oil change. So so that's what we're going to do. I'm not going to put any oil in this one, so we'll get that other filter off. That's the next step. So if you can't get it off by hand, you'll need an oil filter wrench to remove it. This one has a pivot on it. You can straighten this or turn it. So I got it turned vertical right now, just to kind of torque the filter and remove it. So you'll put this over the filter, tighten it down, and just rotate it, and that filter will start to turn. And you want to turn it counterclockwise so that you can remove it, and then clockwise to put it back on. Make sure that you don't over tighten the filter when you put it back on. All you'll do is reverse this filter wrench to torque it back on. You only really want to go to a quarter to a half turn once it's tightened down to keep it sealed. So we'll get this filter off, and we'll put the new one on. Alright, so we've got the new filter in place. I've tightened it down, spun it on by hand, and then turned it another. Alright, so now that our filter is in place, the next step is to go ahead and just put a funnel in here and add 5.8 quarts of oil. Start the engine up, make sure everything sounds right, and then we don't have any leaks, and that's it. Make sure to put your oil cap back on after you fill it, and that's about it. That's an oil change on an 05 Toyota 4Runner with a 4.0. If you guys have any questions about anything, let me know in the comment section, and subscribe, and I'll try to get some more videos to you on this as the maintenance and stuff goes on and on with it. Thanks for watching.